going on, everybody? Welcome to the Bulls of Ball Street, where we break down multiple different kinds of sports-related topics. Right now, though, we're breaking down UFC, and we never sleep. So even if there's an off week in UFC, we're still breaking it down for you guys a bit early. So here we are. Let's get into this Blanchfield versus Maycee Barber fight.
There we go. If I can figure out technology. Yeah, Jackson said Blanchfield versus Barber. About a little bit before we over here, so let's get into it.
Your mic is like a little bit underwater.
It's always toothless when he does this. Flips it around on me. We got Ryan Dos Santos versus Alice Arleon. What should we know about this fight? Besides the fact they look both really pissed off and
yeah, they do look kind of mad. Yeah. I mean, they're probably mad because neither of them are. I mean, Ryan might be UFC talent, but I think that's probably why Alice isn't smiling in this one. Ryan, pretty good grappler, decent on her feet too. Bounces around pretty well. Not a ton of wrestling to be had. She's not really explosive in her takedowns or anything. Doesn't shoot him straight either, but pretty good control on the ground. Decent grounded pound too. Really good takedown defense despite the bad offensive wrestling. And then she's not afraid to reshoot once she stuffs your takedown. And she's coming off a loss to Pooja Tamar, who I'm not like too big on. I don't think that's a great loss, but it was a kind of questionable loss. She didn't wrestle at all in it. Looked pretty decent in the striking though. Alice Arleon, winless in the UFC. Don't really think she's UFC talent, but she does give it her all. She's tough, not really skilled in any way, but mixes it up. Definitely sloppy, can be a gamer. Is totally cool with just an absolute firefight. A bunch of losses. She lost to Waylay, pretty quality loss.
Why isn't she the favorite here, though? In genuine curiosity, just looking at their two resumes, like, wouldn't the Tumar thing essentially? And I guess sorry to cut you off. It's just like I'm looking at this, I'm very confused because it's like she lost a split decision to Tumar. Tumar got subbed by Shauna Bannon, and Alice Arleon beat. Or I guess she lost Shauna Bannon too. Never mind. I'm just lost.
I mean, no, I think I agree with you. And what are the odds on this one?
She's like a plus
Ryan
230
is a minus 290.
Yeah, I think that's weird. Honestly, I don't think it's that crazy of idea for Alice to grind out a win here. She's definitely durable. Saw that in her most recent decision loss to Melissa Martinez. Ref stopped the action on a low blow call that didn't actually happen in that one. But the issue I have with Alice is that I don't know how seriously she takes this. From her first UFC fight, I don't think I've seen a single improvement in any one of her skills. Ryan's not very good. I don't think she should be that big of a favorite. I'm still picking her to win, but I don't know. I definitely think Alice could at least steal a round or something here.
What do you think of
when you look up her name? When you look up her name, the first article is Meet Alice Arleon, the OnlyFans star kicked out of MMA gyms after jealous wives raged, set to make debut at UFC 304.
That's a headline.
It's not really what you want to see.
Yeah.
So this might be a get cut from the UFC kind of fight.
Jack Doherty's roommate fighting in a fucking UFC event right now.
She might be fighting for her job. It's kind of hard to say.
What do you think of the Denise?
This might not even be her job.
Yeah, her side gig.
Yeah.
This is actually a promotion for her.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Dos Santos here. I think the grappling expertise, maybe bring this one to the mat, just kind of point it out. Let's take a Dos Santos decision on my end here.
Yeah, I'm going to rock with you guys on Dos Santos decision. I do remember with Tomar getting subbed there, she was quite literally dominating that fight against Shauna Bannon, and then Shauna slipped a crazy submission out of nowhere. If you're curious what the odds were on that, 20-1. I don't remember. But yeah, on to the next one. We got Markel Mereros versus Balaji Oki. We got one guy who looks like he's ready for war and one guy who looks like he's I don't know, he just finished a week in Greece.
Yeah.
What should we expect here?
I think this is going to be a good fight. Two pretty good guys here. Markel Medeiros, generally a striker, throws in combos, throws at a high volume too, and a pretty good striking differential. He can grapple too, has that in his back pocket. Takedowns are pretty good. Um, he is coming off a win over Austin Hubbard. Striking looked really good in that one. He kind of faded, gassed out a bit at the end there after Hubbard was able to take him to the ground, but he was still able to squeak out the win. Um, Balaji Oki also mostly a striker. He's a bit higher volume, I'd say, than Medeiros is. Very powerful too. Definitely throws in combos. He kind of waits for his opportunity and then leaps in and just tries to take your head off, basically. Really good takedown defense. Solid takedowns, too, if he does decide to use the offensive wrestling, which he will every once in a while if the striking isn't working for him. Really good strikers can give him trouble because Balaji isn't the most technical guy. He's super powerful and explosive. Technique-wise, he's kind of sloppy at times on the feet. And believe Balaji is a pretty decent sized favorite here. He is coming minus 190. Okay, yeah. He's coming off the Chris Duncan loss. He looked good in that one. He just got caught in a guillotine. I don't know. I think if I'm going to go with the underdog in Markel Medeiros in this one. I think if he can survive an early onslaught with all that power from Balaji, he's the cleaner, more technical striker. He has really good takedown defense on his side. Balaji's takedowns, they're not terrible, but I mean, Markel should be able to stuff them. I think we're going to see a striking match, and I like the technique to aid Markel into the later rounds of this one, and I'm probably going to pick a Medeiros decision here.
Yeah, I'm a versatility merchant. I'm going to rock with the Balaji side of things. I think he could finish it standing up as well with that power you touched on. I don't think either guy really necessarily needs to take it to the ground. Oki might if he can't really find much of an advantage standing up because there's not much of a risk of a submission if it does get down there. But Medeiros does have the takedown defense to really kind of stifle those if he wants to. So I just think Oki has the potential to get this one to the ground and potentially stall out some rounds, and then from there land some powerful strikes and just kind of get towards the end of this fight. But if I had to take a method, let's go with Oki third round KO.
All right. Well, I'll try to marry you guys here. I'm going to go with Oki decision. I don't really have anything to say on this one. Like, I think there's holes that you can really poke in both sides, but I don't have the intelligence to do it. So I'm going to move on to the next one. Kurt Hollabaugh versus Jordan Levitt. I looked at the odds, and Hollabaugh is a underdog here, which honestly kind of, I don't know why, I just mentally thought that he was going to be the favorite for some reason. But let's walk through it.
Yeah, what are the odds on this one? I imagine it's pretty close,
180.
right?
180 for Jordan.
Oh, damn. Yeah, that is pretty surprising. Well,
conversely.
Yeah. Jordan Leavitt, the Monkey King. He's like a jiu-jitsu guy. Kurt Hollabaugh, coming off about a year, no fighting. Leavitt, like I said, grappler, pretty one-dimensional, honestly. Striking and wrestling are both leave a lot to be desired. But he is a black belt and a good one too. He's really dangerous with the subs. Just doesn't have any setups for that. No one's scared of his striking. Doesn't really have the best wrestling ever. A lot of the time he needs to be taken there by his opponent. But he is dangerous when he gets to the ground, both on top and off his back. Chase Hooper didn't seem to have any problem with it though, because he subbed him in his last fight. Hollabaugh, getting old now, coming off a year of fighting. He's 38, but he is still good. I think hasn't slowed down a ton. Won the Ultimate Fighter and did that later in his career too. And he's looking good in his old age right now, I think. Good forward pressure still, good combos. Striking is just pretty versatile. Nice job of rinsing and repeating, jumping in when he sees an opportunity, leaping back out, controlling distance. He is coming off a loss to Alexander Hernandez. striking looked good in that one. Jiu-jitsu also looked pretty good. Kurt, I think, is the better fighter overall. I'm going to go with 2 dogs in a row, I think, here, which is kind of rare for me, but going to do it. Going to go with Kurt Hollabaugh. Yeah, takedown defense, not great, but Jordan's takedowns absolutely suck.
I'm gonna take a stab on the Jordan sub here. Like you said, the takedown defense isn't good, so if he's gonna be able to get to the ground with anyone, this feels like a spot for that to happen. If it's standing up, he's probably in a tough spot. Obviously, striking is not great, but really just a kind of clash of styles here. And I'm gonna rock with the grappler because I think even if he doesn't get towards a sub, there's potential to stall out some rounds, and I'll take him by decision, I guess. Or sub, but let's lean decision just to be safe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna rock with Hollabaugh, just because this is my thinking. I think that Chase Hooper and Patty Plumwood are clearly at least a higher level tier of prospect at this point in time, and that shows well on the resume. And it shows like them getting finishes against him. Then you have the decision loss to plays, and you can realistically factor that however you want. But I just think with however long he's been away from the game, he should not be the favorite here, regardless of the age. I'm going to go with Hollabaugh by decision.
I think the same thing.
All right, on to the next one. And also, side note, I hate to be disrespectful, but what the fuck is this haircut?
Yeah, this is pretty wacky.
That's not it.
It's not great.
Dope, the faux hawk.
Ramiz Brahimaj versus Oban Elliott. Holy forehead.
That's Love Island final bosses.
The Welsh gangster.
That's what I'm seeing. All right. Are
Can
we
we
going
have
to
a
get a
chat?
banger here? What are we expecting for this one?
I think I'm team Oban knockout here. Had the opportunity to knock out, or not knock out Oban, I wish. Had the opportunity to interview Oban Elliott, and he's a really cool guy. Not biased at all in this one, though, I think. I just genuinely think he's a lot better than Brahimi. Really well around. Yeah, oh, what are the odds? Is he like a huge favorite?
600
Minus 725.
Yeah, wow. I guess there's not a ton to talk about then. The odds will pretty much tell you everything you need to know about this fight, but he's super well-rounded. Cardio is a big advantage for him in a lot of his fights. He has a super deep bag of tricks, including spinning attacks, athletic, fast. Takedown defense leaves some to be desired, but he does have good get-up game. High fight IQ guy coming off a knockout win over Basel Hafez. So I think he should be able to get the knockout here against Ramiz, who is like a really good grappler, probably doesn't use his grappling as much as he should. Definitely not a good enough striker to win a fight standing up, so I'm going to go with Oban.
Yep, easy. I'm on the Oban side as well.
I'm a rock with Oban, but we're going to go with a submission here. Show him a little bit of tools in his bag, because I think he has it.
I like it.
Wow.
All right. On to the next one. Ketlin Vieira versus Maycee Barber. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything outside of Ketlin. Might look like she could be a wicked witch from the West. But yeah, odds seem to have this fight as pretty even. What should we expect here? Are we going to get a finish in this fight? What's going to happen?
I think this is a pretty even fight here. Ketlin is coming off the Kayla Harrison loss, where Kayla pretty much didn't let her get into a flow a single time. She basically didn't do anything in that fight, but she is pretty good. Valley's very powerful, mostly a striker, but takedowns are also smooth. Heavy on top for sure, really good control. Will also light you up with some ground and pound if she gets in the right position. On the ground, not really super explosive or fast, but really strong. Decent boxer. Maycee Chiasson, you'll see she has a pretty decent reach advantage here. And that should benefit her a lot. She's long, uses that well. She has that Muay Thai base, so she uses that length intentionally with the Muay Thai, usually works really well for her. Somewhat powerful. If you're on the front foot getting in her face, she tends to slow down a bit. But if you let her control the range, manage the distance, it can be very, very good. Grappling is also something that she's been making a point to improve on. A lot of takedowns recently seems to have just added to her game overall. She is most recent coming off a win over Mayra Bueno Silva. So interesting line stuff here. The fact that this is even is pretty surprising to me. This fight was supposed to happen before Ketlin ended up fighting Kayla Harrison, and Ketlin was a 3-1 favorite when those odds dropped, and then she went and lost to Kayla Harrison, who, I mean, I'd say is a pretty high quality loss, and now we're seeing even odds. So I think I'm going to go with Ketlin. She's really big, really strong. I think she should be able to get at least one takedown in, and when she does get a takedown, her top control is super good. So I see at least one round going that way. If she can make one of the other two go her way, either in the striking or department or by doing the same thing, I think it's hers to win.
Yeah, I'm going to rock with Ketlin sub. So a little bit different, but similar. I think that height and reach discrepancy is a little bit interesting, I guess, but smaller fighter usually doesn't have too much of a problem grabbing legs and finishing a takedown there. Yeah, I'm going to rock with the Vieira side there. That odds movement is super bizarre, and I don't think really has any effect on this fight, her last loss. So yeah, let's rock with the jiu-jitsu black belt here.
Yeah, rocking with Vieira by decision. Like, yes, I'm sure she's a phenomenal prospect. Could easily beat my ass. But like, Mayra Bueno Silva is like she's at the back nine of her career. Like, this isn't the same girl that we once were in love with here. Like, I don't know. That I think that's just not a high quality win on her resume. So like, I really think the line should be like -170 for Vieira at minimum.
Yeah, and then it's like on the opposite side, like the Kayla loss is a super high quality loss.
Yeah, especially with the trajectory she's on, like that is such a fun prospect to be tailing right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's move to actually kind of quickly. Do you think she could be a really? I don't know if like they're in the right weight division or whatever, but the girl that's like got a bunch of knockouts and whatever that division. I don't know if it's Bellator or whatever it is, but I feel like I see highlights of her all the time.
I don't know if I know who you're talking about. I am honestly not too tapped in on the women's fighters outside of the UFC.
There's a girl fighter though that I don't know what division it is or what it is, but like she's going around and she's laying hammers.
Dude, you got to link her to me.
I will see if I can find it. But yeah, all right. I'll look for that as we go into the next fight here. Jeremiah Wells versus Andreas Gustafsson. I'm not gonna lie, for a second there, I thought that like out of the corner of my eye, it looked like an alien. It's not.
Which Gustafsson?
It's just Gustafsson. But yeah, I'm hyped for this fight. I think I'm gonna be probably taking Jeremiah Wells here, but
just for the culture.
Just for the culture, even though it's not always paid well in the past. But let's walk through it.
Yeah, Jeremiah Wells, a guy Wells and I have ran into in the past. Pretty good guy. He was in a boot and crutches or a cast and crutches when we met him, though. So glad to see him making his return. The public really seems to be fading him, unfortunately, here. Gustafsson, pretty hyped up prospect. And obviously, there's a lot of question marks surrounding Wells coming back from injury and a long time away. So I'm really interested in this one. It's going to be a big test, I think, for both of these guys. Not one I'm super confident in either, because Andreas is a really good grappler, as is Jeremiah, but his wrestling is also really good. Nice, like decent striking, volume, I would say, maybe not technique to set up those takedowns. Really nice elbows and knees in the clinch and on the ground too. Very powerful, always looking for a finish. His UFC debut, like I said, Wells has always been a super well-rounded guy. Grappling, like I said, is super good, very explosive, transitions really nicely between positions, looks for that sub, very, very accomplished black belt. So striking, okay. He definitely has knockout power. Like Gustafsson, a lot of the time it's just there to set up the groundwork, but Gustafsson may have a little edge in the striking. It's kind of hard to tell from their past fights, but Jeremiah is definitely no bum. He has lost 2 fights in a row. He got caught by Carlston Harris, but he was looking good in that one. I don't know, dude. I'm so not confident in this one. I kind of want to lean Wells, but I'm going to give a slight lean to Andreas, who's just younger, hasn't been away from the game for as long. So yeah, I'll slightly lean Gustafsson, but you never know. We just saw Gabe Green resurge himself on the card this last weekend, so in a similar situation against Mateus Camilo, who was also on his debut. So
yeah, I'm gonna rock with Jeremiah by decision here. Feels like a good underdog stab just to take a look at it. Pretty even odds, not anything too crazy, sitting at plus 130, but feels like decent value. I think he can kind of stall this one out point on the ground. Takedown average is good. Opposing takedown accuracy isn't anything crazy either, 66%. So it just feels like if Jeremiah has the engine and motor to just kind of keep shooting them, he'll land enough to where he can kind of just keep this fight under his control. If it's standing up, I would definitely worry about him, especially with that height advantage, a weird reach advantage, not really super orthodox there. Short wingspan for Gustafsson, I guess. But yeah, I'm going to rock with Wells here. It feels like a nice little stab here.
Well, I appreciate you for rocking with me. But I don't know. This is kind of a hard one to honestly see which side I really like here. Probably going to be taking the chance on Gustafsson, honestly, by decision. I'm just like, I think there's a very real world where Jeremiah wins, but it's like a 39-year-old fighter coming back after all this time. Like,
yeah,
that's just a hard sell.
it is a hard sell.
I did find the person I did want to sell you on, Dakota Decheva out of the PFL. We'll watch some highlights. We're not even monetized on this bitch, so
let's run it.
But she is a very, very fun fighter. Jeff Hafel, whatever. Filho versus Alan Nascimento. Let's walk through it. Bro looks like Larry the cucumber from VeggieTales.
He does.
Yeah, he looks like a husk of a human, kind of. What are the odds on this fight?
Nascimento minus 155.
Nascimento minus 155. Wow, that surprises me. Man, yeah, Alon, very fun striker. Has grappling in his back pocket too. Wrestling is not the best, but he can definitely get you with a trip or a sweep if he gets you at the right position. Scramble skills are pretty okay. Takedown accuracy, like I said, is wrestling isn't the best. He has 26% takedown accuracy. Takedown defense is even worse at 16%. So he basically just gets thrown around, but he throws really big on the feet, pretty technical. Yeah, Hafel is really athletic guy, very fast, definitely a dog. Will work in takedowns. You'll see he averages 1.77. Accuracy, not that accurate, but he's going up against a guy in Alon Nascimento who has some of the worst takedown defense. So it's pretty even playing field, probably even an edge to Jafel in that sense. He is coming off a submission win over Odie Osborne, where Odie didn't land a single strike. And I'm going to go with the dog here in Jafel. I was really surprised when you said that he was that big of a dog. He's super dangerous. He's good everywhere. He's a lot more active, especially recently, than Alon has been on the MMA scene. Basically, just need Jafel to stay composed and not kind of waste himself by just going balls to the wall in the first round. But, he has pretty high fight IQ. We've seen him make some tough right decisions before. So I'm going to go with the dog and Jafel Filho.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Alon here. I think that I'm hoping that the grappling advantage is kind of a wash in this one. Both guys are comfortable being on the ground, can grapple, can hang in a jiu-jitsu setting, which obviously means one of them could still fall into a sub. But I'm gonna just take the guy that I think is more efficient in the other walks of this fight, and I think that Nascimento is just kind of the more efficient striker. might not have a ton of pressure or put a ton of pressure on Feel-Ho, but I just feel like in those exchanges, he's going to be efficient, is going to take his chances and land a bit more there. So I'm going to take Nascimento probably by a decision here.
I'm going to go with Feel-Ho by knockout. I just think Nascimento, I think the odds should be flipped here. This makes no sense for a guy coming off this much time.
I kind of agree. I kind of feel like it'd be, I don't know, but I feel like it should at least be like a pick 'em, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm big on fading the guys who've spent a lot of time away. They'll always bite you.
No.
Zachary Reese versus Dusko Todorovic. Honestly, if memory serves correct, Zach Reese is kind of an underrated fighter in some senses, and Dusko is like a somewhat intriguing prospect. Yeah, he's at the age that you call him prospect.
I don't think Dusko actually has that thing on the C on his name. I just thought it looked right, the little accent.
It absolutely. He doesn't have the Turkish one. He has the up accent.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There is a little down up guy on the S too.
I was like, this needs something.
I assume he's Croatian. It looks like or Serbian or something. It looks like a Serbian name with the accents and stuff. The C looks cold though. I think.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Okay, dope. But yeah, Zach Reese, I'd say is, I mean, physically a specimen. He's 6'4". A really good fighter, I would say. His striking differential is really good. He uses that enormous size pretty well on the feet to manage range. He's really not that great on the ground, and that's kind of been his kryptonite in the past, is that he's a bit of a fish off his back. But he is pretty well-rounded, powerful striker. Definitely can wrestle too. Could be a bit more consistent in actually committing to the wrestling and using it as part of his game plan. Seems like it's sort of a fallback strategy when he actually is a pretty skilled wrestler. But he is coming off a loss to Asmat Bekov where he was knocked out. Basically did exactly what I said was one of his weaknesses, in that he just couldn't get up off his back for a lot of that one. And Dusko, good striker, good technique, solid power. Takedowns are good. Takedowns really aren't that good. 12% accuracy.
It's a really weird one. Todorovic is a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but I don't think he's ever really grappled significantly at all. So he's just kind of did that just to have it on his resume.
He definitely has some, I've seen him transition, or at least try to transition to submissions before. He definitely has some offensive BJJ, but yeah, you're right. I don't know.
But I feel like against a dude that wants to stand, he's going to be fine standing, which maybe he shouldn't, but.
I totally agree, yeah. But he is pretty high volume, 5.35 significant strikes landed a minute, 4.8 absorbed. He is a little bit chinny, it seems. He just got clipped by Mansour Abdul Malik at Vegas 100. Against Cody Brundage, though, Zach Reese also got destroyed. But basically, I think I'm going to go with Zach Reese. He should win. He's very, very big. Might be the better grappler of the two even. Really powerful. Dusko's chin is a big question after that Mansour Abdul Malik knockout too, so we could see him get chinned here by Zach Reese, who's a really powerful guy. Zach he did screw himself in the Bekov fight, so hopefully he doesn't. He makes a bit more high IQ moves here, but I think I'll go with Zach Reese.
Zach Reese by knockout. I just don't see a world where they're just not just swinging.
Yeah. Agreed. I think it should be a super fun fight. Both guys are aggressive strikers. You have Reese, who's just a little bit more efficient in those exchanges and has the reach advantage and stuff, so he can kind of keep some distance there. So I will be joining you as well.
Like it. All right. Dustin Jacoby versus Bruno Lopez. We got Fuzi on the right. So
is Jacoby the dog or is Bruno the dog?
Jacoby's minus 180.
Oh, wow. That's kind of wild. They're giving him respect here.
Dustin Jacoby is the most bullpen catcher name of all time.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of like it's like a Cody Brundage type name, like
Yeah.
yeah. But he is a super high level kickboxer. He's kind of old now, but he's still really skilled. Um, was at one point ranked number 2 in the world in kickboxing. Pretty good run once he came back to the UFC. Very technical, does what you would expect a high level kickboxer to do, invests in the body, works the legs, high volume, pretty decent takedown defense at 62%. And even when people are able to get a takedown in, he's really good at piecing you up on the way in. Coming off a knockout win over Vitor Petrino. Bruno is a striker generally. Negative striking differential at 2.89, kind of low volume, kind of sloppy, definitely starts winging it at times. Solid grappling, very good control on the ground when he does get on top, very heavy. Will light you up with the grounded pound, coming off a decision win over Magomed Gadzhizulov, where he went all in on the wrestling with 5 takedowns. And Dustin, I think his takedown defense is probably going to be tested here. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Bruno does the exact same thing he did in his last fight and goes straight for the wrestling once Dustin starts inevitably piecing him up on the feet. Bruno definitely has done a good job of that in the past, like staying in his opponent's face, which Dustin struggles with sometimes. And Dustin was also losing to Vitor Petrino before he got him with the KO. I'm going to go with Dustin Jacoby, low confidence. I don't think that minus 180 line is right. I kind of think it should be closer, but yeah, I think Dustin should be able to stave off the takedowns for the most part and is definitely the far better striker.
Yeah, I think Bruno's going to need to get this one to the ground, and he's definitely more well-rounded, but I don't think he really has the skill set to really fight towards anything super meaningful once it's on the ground, even if he does get it there. I like watching kickboxers in general. It should be a fun fight if this one is standing up. I'm going to rock with Jacoby. Let's go with a knockout in this one. I think the striking proficiency is the biggest singular advantage in this fight. So,
Yeah, I really don't have that crazy of a take here. Probably just gonna go with a favorite Jacoby here by decision. Like, it's a blood fight to me.
Yeah.
All right. On to the next one: Billy Ray Goff versus Kosya Kyun. Yeah, what should we expect here? Outside of trust your gut is what I'm guessing is on his gut.
Is there like a down arrow on the other side of that?
I think so. I can't really tell.
But yeah, Billy Ray Goff sounds like a pop star, but he is actually a really well-rounded MMA fighter, pretty clean boxer, heavy elbows and knees in the clinch. Wrestling is there, grappling. He can fall back on if he needs to take it there. Good takedowns though; they're clean, shoots them straight. Also has good top control on the ground. Good cardio, pushes the pace for all 3 rounds. Coming off absolute showdown with Trey Waters. And he is a dude that is always willing to brawl, good all over the mat, can beat you in any way that MMA allows. And Suk-Young Ko he has knockout power. They call him the Korean Tyson. Very heavy-handed.
Crazy nickname.
I know. It's dope. And you'll see he averages 2 takedowns a fight, so he does make an effort to work those in. I think Billy is just kind of better everywhere in this one. Like Suk-Young is super stiff on the feet, lands at a low volume, kind of has a hard time throwing in combos. Billy Ray is a dog, in my opinion. I think he's going to be on the front foot in this one. So I'm going to go with BRG.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go with Billy Ray by decision. He's younger. I could see maybe upset here, but it just seems like that's probably the way we should be leaning on this one.
yeah, I'll side with you guys.
Cool.
All right, on to the next one here. We've got Mateus Gamro versus Ludovic Klein. What should we be expecting here?
Yeah, this is a really fun fight. This is one of, I think, two fights. This and the Blanchfield fight are two fights that both have ranking implications. So, good fight. Gamrot is, a nonstop wrestler. Pretty good striking to back that up. Not just there to set up the takedowns. He's definitely developed that. Not super powerful, really. But he can definitely light you up once he gets in a flow state. Sort of, he can be higher volume. But he's a really good wrestler. Basically, a nonstop takedown, just chain wrestling the whole fight if he can help it. But he does have big problems with his chin. He gets dropped all the time. And Ludwig Klein is a really good striker. He's smooth. He's accurate. Keeps things technical. Also has knockout power to finish you in one hand. Everything he throws is with intent. Also, insanely good takedown defense at 91%. If he's losing the striking, he's fine with switching to wrestling. He's never really had a big test in the UFC, as far as I know. Like, he's almost always like a 10-1 favorite in his fights. So this is definitely the biggest test for him so far. Excited to see him against an actual really good fighter like Mateusz Gamrot. I could see Ludwig just kind of defending a couple of the takedowns and taking over in the striking, but I am worried about some things I've heard from the Ludwig Klein camp about a potential hand injury. He said on the Ariel Helwani show this morning, he was like, I'm pretty much injury free, which is not something that you like to hear. Like a week and a half out of the fight, and he's going to be the one trying to strike in this one. I don't think he's going to pull out of the fight either. So I'm going to take a swing on Gamrot. Is Gamrot the dog or is he the favorite?
Favorite, like 160.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll go with Gamrot.
Everything you were saying made me want to take Klein, but the injury thing is a little bit worrying. If his takedown defense can hold up, he should win the striking exchanges fully healthy. So that would have been intriguing, but don't want to be in a situation where I end up backing a dude with a broken hand. And Gamrot has been in these spots before. I know that I can trust the motor and just the constant pressure and takedowns and everything. So I'm going to take Gamrot, probably just to wear down Klein in this one and probably fight towards a unanimous decision.
I'm going to go with Gamrot by knockout. I just think that he's going to show that there's levels to this, and essentially, if the hand injury is a thing, there's going to be a doctor stoppage. But yeah, on to the next one. We've got Erin Blanchfield versus Maycee Barber. I'm just going to say it. There's levels to this already. Blanchfield by whatever way she wants, but I'll let you guys walk through it.
No, I'm with you there. I mean, it's a good fight, technically speaking. We've got the number 4, number 5 girl here, so big ranking implications, obviously. One of these girls is probably right around the corner from a title shot. So Blanchfield, a really good grappler. Striking has definitely been improving. You'll see that even though she's mostly a grappler, she lands 5.24 significant strikes a minute to 4.2 absorbed. So 2 takedowns a fight. Like she had in that Rose Namajunas win where she had those 2 takedowns and a lot of controlled time. And Maycee Barber, kind of the opposite, improving in the wrestling and grappling department, has always been a really clean boxer. Takedowns are powerful, though, definitely explosive. Didn't take her much time to develop those. She's taken down a few of her opponents who have pretty good takedown defense, notably Miranda Maverick. Some others are escaping me right now, but takedown defense is only 53%, which definitely could be a problem considering her opponent is Erin Blanchfield, but she has been taken down a good amount of times, and she's coming off the Caitlin Chikagian win, where she looked good in the striking department, and yeah, she got takedowns in too. So that's always good to see when someone's trying to develop their wrestling. I think this should be a good fight. Definitely interesting, but I am ultimately with you here, Wells. I think Blanchfield will be the one on the front foot for a lot of the fight. We've seen her time and time again get beaten up on the feet. She almost seems like she doesn't even notice she's getting punched and just continues to come forward at you. I think that's exactly what's going to happen here. She's going to be on the front foot. I think she could even win a finish, but ultimately, I think the most likely outcome is a dominant Blanchfield decision.
Yep, completely agree. The more active striker and the grappling is great, like we touched on, and that seems to be the key in a lot of these women's fights. Seems like she could probably stall out a few rounds, land a takedown each round, and cruise to a pretty comfortable victory. Also, if this fight is standing up, I think you can trust her just enough. Not super accurate with the striking, but will apply the volume. So if she can take a round or two on the ground and then just kind of be the one pushing the pressure, it's going to be hard to not give her a decision here. So rock with that. I don't see this fight ending in a stoppage on the Barber side. So Blanchfield's tough to take out in a decision.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Blanchfield by sub here. Being able to go 5 rounds with Namajunas and Fiorot, like that just shows like the true level that she's at right now. And Barber, this is her first test on like the headline of a true card here. No 5 rounds before that. I just don't think this is a good spot for her. It is what it is. But yeah, if you got to this point, I'm now going to show Dakota to have highlights here because why not? But yeah, subscribe if you haven't already. Let us know who you're tailing and fading. Last week, like I kind of guessed, was the perfect week to fade me. So big shocker there. But yeah, let's see if we can get this going.
That name I've definitely heard. I just haven't seen her fight ever.
I'll just find the highlights.
Dakota Dicheva.
All right, let's see.
Oh, she's English. It's Dakota Dicheva.
Share screen. Oh, this one too.
Here, she's hurt to the body. That's it. The end of the fight. Oh. The club in the right hand.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh. That was nasty. That kick was kind of sus, dude. She like kicked her in the face while she was on the ground.
She just sat.
Oh, nasty combination. And the body work.
Yeah.
That she's going to have now getting up is going to be unbelievable. Beautiful knee from the plum. And Bishop beckons Jenna Bishop back to her feet and goes immediately on the attack. And that does it. First round finish.
I think she'd be pretty fun.
What weight class is she in? Flyweight. Let's see. Look at these flyweight rankings.
I'll say, who would you give her?
Checking right now. I feel like maybe. I mean, I don't know, dude. She looks kind of nasty. I feel like her versus Rose could make sense as her like debut because Rose is coming off that loss.
Yeah, I mean, she's fun. I think she's 12-0 with 12 knockout finishes. Like,
yeah,
she can hit.
Yeah, and the PFL definitely isn't like a chump promotion either.
I'll say it's not the worst promotion. I think she'd be a fun kind of addition to the UFC. I think Dana would like her. Seems to have a good personality.
Dude, maybe her versus Maycee after Maycee loses to Erin here.
That would probably be a great setup to really see how it goes.
Yeah. Maycee's good though. You never know with the debut. It's like she could be on that level. 12 knockouts is pretty crazy though.
I'll say. I think I found a prospect for you to do some rabbit hole work here and see what you can find.
Yeah, I'm gonna
start the agenda.
Yeah, exactly. We'll start messaging Dana. With that said, subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, talk to you later now. Peace.
Peace.